Howdy, and welcome to the Highline Herd podcast, where stories ride strong and the bond between folks and their horses runs deep. Each Sunday, we're talking everything from trail tips and tack to good old horse sense and the people who live it every day. Keep up with the herd by following us over on Instagram at the Highline Herd and swinging by our website at thehighlineherd.com. Now, let's ride into today's episode. Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Highline Herd. I'm Skylar.
And I'm Shelby. And in today's episode, we're going to be discussing our trip that we just took. And, we had some episodes pre-recorded for you guys, and we talked a little bit about the Mustangs. And now that we've seen the terrain they've traversed, we're going to talk just a little bit about everything we saw and how it affects horses. Because we really spent a good bit of the trip, what did this look like back in the day?
Oh, yeah. I remember the majority of our conversations just traveling, especially when it got to those, long stretches. It's like, man, what would we give to just go back in time and be able to see this land in its original state and possibly traverse it via horseback or wagon?
Right.
Oh.
Between the ears, no matter whether it was a wagon or...
Yeah.
Just to see it all between the ears. Because, we crossed the Continental Divide in, 3 different places?
Oh, yeah.
And that was...
It was crazy.
Yeah, it really was. I'm like, no wonder it was such, a huge milestone for them when they got...
Oh, yeah.
The railroad in place.
Yes. Especially, the first time that we crossed through that divide, the terrain, it was... I don't even know how they could have gotten mules or horses up those hills and the ridges.
It was hard for the cars. Even though they had built a road in place, it was still tight. It was still, super steep. The amount of trucks we saw just struggling.
Yeah, chugging along and people just going around them because you can't.
And you know that they designed those roads specifically. And it's just back in the day, it must have been even worse.
I don't even want to. What would that look like with a wagon?
Oh.
How many horses or animals would you have to get to pull a wagon like that?
Right. And then, going through places getting into Idaho, getting into the foothills. Because one thing we noticed was, yes, a lot of the mountains were really lush and thick. But right at the base of the mountain, it was usually very barren, desert-like.
Yeah.
And it's how do you even get there? I don't think I saw hardly any water holes while we were in Idaho.
Exactly. Before trekking up the mountain, you gotta take care of your animals. You gotta make sure they're in tip-top shape. And that includes feeding and watering them. It was just a whole nother world that...
It really was. It really showed... It really was a great display of why did everybody stick so close to the river and follow the river.
Yeah.
Because in some of those states, if you veered from the river,
you don't know when your next water was going to be.
No. And that was just really, really cool to see. And,
yeah.
Going through all these states, seeing the Continental Divide and trying to imagine crossing the Continental Divide on horseback, we were also looking at all of the terrain around it. And Wyoming, Idaho, Montana, that's horse country.
Oh, yes.
Sprawling ranches. Some of them were old, too.
Oh, yeah. Seeing some of the old barns where you can tell it was just old lumber.
Yeah. The barbed wire fences that make you wonder just what have those fences seen?
Yeah.
And, just driving through all of that, trying to imagine what it all looked like before lights, before electricity, before, asphalt roads and cars. It's just insane. And we did see one little town that's still tried to hold on to that old West feel while we were in Washington.
Yeah, Winthrop.
Yeah.
It was really cute. It was adorable in its
It really was
aesthetic.
There was only one thing that was missing was hitching rails, but
yeah.
Overall, it was so old-timey West feeling. It was so great with the wooden sidewalks, and then it was just a continuous awning over all the sidewalks.
All the buildings were kind of combined into one large storefront almost.
Yeah. It was really, truly very, very cool.
Yeah.
And, we truly were going through all of this thinking about, what did this all look like from horseback? And
Yeah, we were like 2 kids in a candy store.
We really were. And then, while we were in Winthrop, Washington, while we were up there for the clinic, we trail rode while we were there. We found a place to trail ride. Of course, right?
I mean, we had to. We were
course.
missing our horses too much, and we needed to get back in the saddle.
We really did. And that was interesting. The terrain was so different than Ohio.
Yes.
It was similar, but it was different.
It was like rockier, but sandier at the same time.
Yeah, and it wasn't as stable.
No. It was hollow sounding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was one spot of the trail, like, because they allowed us to do all 3 gates. We were able to walk, trot, and canter.
Mm-hmm.
And there was one spot where it looked like the road had just truly just fallen out of, like, the trail had just fallen away. Mm-hmm. Like, it was just a big old hole that we had to go around. My horse put on the brakes and almost knocked me out of the saddle for that particular hole. She said, "Oh, low effort today. We're just gonna stop."
Yeah. No, but I mean, it was so interesting getting to go to these different ecosystems in the different land and see how different it is from Ohio.
And the barbed wire fences were everywhere. Like, in Ohio, in just the East Coast in general. If you mention trying to put up a barbed wire fence for your horses or cattle, everybody gets mad and gets all in an uproar.
Yeah, cattle, it's a little bit of a different story, but for equines especially, people will frown upon it here.
Yeah, but out there, like, that was majority of the fence we saw.
But also take into consideration how many acres did they have to fence
exactly
in,
right.
You know?
But also, how long has that fence been standing?
Exactly.
So, when you're going out there and you're seeing all the different ways that people are making a livelihood, are keeping their horses, you have to take in consideration the land.
Yeah.
Every state has different rules regarding land. Every state has different expectations, and depending on how old it is, Wyoming, Montana, those are old states. Those are old horse keeping states. Those are old ranches out there. If you've had a ranch around for 100 years and the barbed wire fence has worked for 100 years, you're not going to go spend hundreds of thousands of dollars to
change it.
Yeah, to fence in, thousands of acres. No, you're not going to do that.
Yeah, what's the old saying? If it's not broken, don't fix it.
Right.
Yeah.
So, here, barbed wire is frowned upon. Out there, it's just a normal part of everything for them.
Mm-hmm.
And, I think that really just harkens too onto what you live with depends on your horse.
Yeah.
Because I know some horses that, no, they absolutely could not do a barbed wire fence. They're a little too dumb for that.
Yeah.
But, for some horses, especially ones that have grown up with it, and that was the other thing we noticed about the train too, was all of these horses lived on this train, grew up on this train. So even horses that were like pasture pups were still well muscled and big butts.
Oh yeah, some of the horses in Washington that we saw, me and Shelby, like, our heads would just turn looking at these beefy ones. I don't even know how they were that stocky and that muscular, but I guess it's just the hills.
It's just the terrain, yeah. And, we also were out there thinking about hay, thinking about trailering, thinking about watering, thinking about all of these things. Because it's still wild out there. For all of the development of humans, Washington's a whole lot of nothing. Montana's a whole lot of nothing.
Yeah.
Wyoming, a whole lot of nothing.
Especially the areas that we were driving through, too. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was just flat stretches or lots of hills, and yeah.
Yeah, out of all the states we saw, I think probably the 2 I would return to with horses would either be Wyoming or Oregon.
Yeah. We actually detoured on our trip back from the PAC clinic, and we stayed at Oregon
for 3 days.
More days than we expected. We were just intending to go through and just take one day to maybe hike and see some sights.
Right.
No.
Go down the coast a little bit. Yeah,
No, that's not what happened. We heard there were puffins, and then we were like, oh, we want to go check out this Agate Beach, and yeah.
And yeah, I think Oregon was one of the coolest states we saw. The coastline was just incredible.
Mm-hmm.
And then the trees, beautiful, thick, lush pine forest.
Yes.
In every ranch we saw in Oregon. Now, obviously, we didn't see a whole lot of Oregon. We didn't really get to the middle very much. We were on the
coast.
We were on the coast and then the border between Oregon and California for a minute. So we didn't see too much, but what we did see, all of the ranches were just these adorable tucked in the pines.
Yes.
just tucked in the little hills and the pines with the mountains and everything around.
And you just see the mist in the trees, and
it was
beautiful.
It was to die for. Like, I'm like, this is, if I've got to choose a place to settle, man, I see why these people are here.
Yeah.
And then, like, thinking about back in the day, like, say you do have your ranch right there, it's an hour's ride from the beach. Like,
yeah,
Oregon's coastline, while it was very rocky and rough in a lot of parts, it was also very easy to access in others.
Yes.
So it's like, just imagine, like, back in the day, just riding from being able to ride before the roads from your ranch to the beach would be.
Well, and we even got to go see a lighthouse, which they had a lot of information on the building of the lighthouse and how people used to get around. And it was just like the wagons, how they would ride the beach in between tides and try to beat the tide.
Like, it was
so cool.
It really was. Like, these people truly had to make the choice in the train they were given. Like, do we try and race the tide? Do we try and get a group of, 50-something people and, 60 horses and ox and whatever else from one end to the other in a handful of hours? Or do we take the long way and use the land?
Yeah.
And just the constant battle these people had to consider. And, like, even in Washington, like I said, it was pretty barren. Washington was about half and half. You had half, like, barren wasteland. Like, I don't even want to say it was, like, grassland, because there wasn't really grass.
Yeah.
There was more life than what you would expect for a desert, but it was also not very, like, lush.
No. And I think it's also because it was coming out of a really harsh winter, too.
Yeah.
So things takes time to grow back in.
But then you just think about trying to travel through those places.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
what did this look like?
Yeah, you're on horseback. The terrain is not forgiving at all.
No.
Some of the roads we were on in Washington, we were like, ooh, this is a little sketchy.
Yeah, and also we noticed people who drive in Washington, they don't like guardrails.
They don't. They don't, no. No, guardrails were entirely optional for a lot of the West Coast.
Yeah.
Especially Washington. Yeah, that was interesting. But they stayed close to the river. That was one thing we noticed in Washington, was all of those roads were right on the rivers.
Yeah.
That state did not veer far from their water source at all, which kind of tints back to the day where,
when you're traveling. Yeah.
Yeah, when those settlements were originally put in, they weren't going to try and explore.
Mm-mm.
They said
they needed to have a direct water source.
They did. And honestly, after driving through Washington, I don't blame them.
No.
It's very dry.
Yeah.
And then you sit there and you're thinking about, what did this look like back in the day? Did they choose to travel all hours of the day? Or did they set up camp during the highest point of the sun for a while?
And then
keep
it was
going, because
cooler.
there was no shade.
No, there wasn't.
No, it's not until you truly get into the mountains and the valley that you do get some lush forests and reprieve, but like I said, half of Washington.
Yeah, it was rough.
And that was, so when we first came into Washington, we came through that part to start. So we crossed the Continental Divide, we crossed the foothills, we crossed Iowa, and I don't know how anybody in that section of the U.S. made it from the U.S. to Canada. Between the Continental Divide being as rough as it is, even in a car.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
that was definitely a trek. That was a feat.
Yeah.
For somebody to go through and do that.
But the other thing we noticed, too, while we were out there was we did try to see what we could see. And, the lighthouse had some pictures. And then we saw a Native American museum. Their horses and mules were a lot smaller than what we have today.
Oh, yeah.
They were just, like, stuck. They were, like, 14 hands of just pure muscle.
Oh, yeah.
It was like...
beefy little things.
Yeah, it was like a bunch of halfies.
Sense.
And, yeah, once you're on that train out there, you're like, yeah, no. Because you're getting on and off. You're... trying to traverse all this terrain, like, you don't want something massive trying to maneuver. So it's no wonder that, little Arabians and thoroughbreds and Spanish horses were the norm. And draft horses got stuck doing the farm work, because how are you gonna, like...
I don't know how they would get a draft horse through the Continental Divide.
I don't.
Unless to log. That's all I can
even
see.
then, like, it is... The forest, they're not, like, in Ohio, our forests are very, we have trees, yes, but ours are a lot of ground plants. A lot of briars, a lot of honeysuckle, a lot of bushes, a lot of really thick ground foliage.
Yes.
Out there, the ground foliage isn't as thick, but that's because the
Trees take up everything.
they really do. You've got massive hemlocks and pines, and that's not even touching on the branches and leaves, because, I mean, we know how pines are. They grow their branches and leaves almost at the base of the tree.
Yeah.
So, I am honestly thinking about trying to maneuver through those trees, through the terrain.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, I don't even think I honestly don't, I don't see how a tiny little 14-hand halfie could do it, much less a 16-hand farm horse trying to do some logging. Like,
yeah.
it's rough.
But I mean, our first campsite in Washington was probably the dream campsite for us.
Oh, it
was gorgeous. So it was tucked away in the back of like...
It was about as far from everything as you could get, honestly.
Yeah.
Like, it was tucked in this little valley type deal.
But you could tell it was built by horse people.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of thought and planning went into the actual design of the campground itself. Now, it was primitive, so there wasn't electric. There was an outhouse.
There was no plumbing.
No.
You had an outhouse, and then you had to pump your water.
Yes.
Which was both of us appreciated that feature.
It was amazing.
It was so cool. And then, like, we were actually I was at least, having some fun with it while we did our laundry.
Yeah.
Of, like, different reps for each arm on the pump. Like,
we were really just playing and just enjoying the moment in that campground especially. And it was beautiful. Like,
it was a gorgeous campground.
Yeah.
And you could tell no one had been there in a while.
No, we were the only ones there. There were no horse people, sadly. But it had been empty for a while. And the wildlife, too.
The wildlife had no fear of us.
The mule deer, they just came right up to our tent. And there was multiple times when you were still sleeping that I would just wake up and go sit outside and watch them. And they would just come so close, I'd have to scare them off. But
right, because it's a toss-up, right? You want to see the wildlife, but you're also, like, trying to maintain safety for you and them.
Yeah, you don't want them to get too comfortable with humans, and that's where issues happen.
But, like, even the driving out there, I'm like, our campsite was gorgeous, but I personally would not want to take a trailer to that campsite.
No.
It was a little sketch.
There was a part where we were on a gravel road on the side of a mountain, and it was a straight drop down, and you could just, could see it.
There was no way to pass. There was no way to turn around.
No.
Like,
if you ran into another, like, vehicle coming up, one of you was going to have to try to back up, and I don't know if I could do that comfortably.
Or if something was blocking the road.
Yeah.
Yeah, like...
Yeah.
And I actually did go on that road while Skylar was at the clinic one day. I went up that road myself just to kind of go back and see everything and try to see the river again, because it was so quiet.
Mm-hmm.
There was no noise. There was no noise. No
you
cars,
hear
no
vehicles,
traffic.
people. No, nothing.
It was purely just the wind and the deer.
Yeah.
And,
And the river.
The river was... The river was probably the best part. We did try to bathe in the river.
Yeah. It was freezing. I mean, mountain water. Okay, so it was freezing.
It was clear, though. Yeah. It was pretty.
Yeah, it was pretty.
It was like the best noise machine ever.
Yeah. That and the wind, because the way that the campground was situated, it was in the middle of, like, this big valley. So all you see are trees. And not only that, like, the wildfire damage.
Oh, God.
It was everywhere.
In Washington, yeah, it was...
Oh, not just Washington, too, like, on our trip, but definitely at that campsite, you could see the devastation.
You really could, in the husks on the trees.
Yeah.
And it really just kind of showed to us, like, the importance of watching when you light a fire, if at all.
Yeah. We lit a fire, I think, once at that campsite.
Once, and we didn't even have it lit for a full hour, I don't think. We
No.
had it lit just long enough to make dinner, and then we put it right back out.
And it was, like, one stick. Feed it.
It wasn't...
Once it burnt out, feed another one, like, watch it intently.
We didn't even use logs. We just used kindling, basically, and it caught so quick. That was another reason we were like, yeah, we're not doing fire.
Yes. And again, we took safety measures too. We had a fire extinguisher and a pot of water right next to us in case something were to happen, if a spark were to land at just the right thing.
Yeah, and we were definitely keeping the fire ring clear for that reason too, but it was just one of those reminders of, you know what, when you want to go camping, when you want to go packing, watch the landscape, listen to the land, because no fire was.
Yeah, and pay attention to fire bans too.
There were so many. So we can tell you right now, when you start driving out west, Wyoming, Montana, Colorado is a big one. California, you are going to see fire signs along the road everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And they take their fire very seriously, as they should. Because, I mean, the amount of natural beauty there now is gorgeous, but the amount they've lost that we could see was just heartbreaking.
It was. I mean, you look at all this landscape and it's so beautiful, and you look a little closer and you realize, oh, it's all dead. It's all fire damage. That's horrible.
It's, you know, corpses and husks and just charred remains, and you just...
Yeah.
It really was, as much as our trip was very, very much needed, it was very relaxing, it was also very educational and a very good reminder that
we got to take care of things and make sure we...
Yeah, whether you're out there with a horse or a dog or yourself, take care of the land. What you take in, take out.
Mm-hmm.
What you light, put out. Do not let it spread. Do not be one of those people that ruins thousands, hundreds of thousands even, acres of land.
Yeah. Because
you wanted to light s'mores and not pay attention.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, while we went through this trip with, you know, joy and nostalgia and imagination and all these emotions, you know, trying to imagine the landscape before, trying to imagine traveling it, all of it, as much as we were doing that, we were also making note of all the other things.
Yeah.
We were making note of the ranch designs. We were making note of the fire damage. We were making note of, you know, if we wanted to trailer out here, what would we need?
Mm-hmm.
So as much as we went into this trip looking for escape, we also went into it with very open minds of what can we learn?
What can we learn about what everybody else is doing here and how things are run? And how different is it from Ohio? And it was very different.
It was. Truly, like, out there, yeah, they have barns. They really don't. Horses don't come in.
No. It's a lot different.
It really is. Colorado, a lot of their, like, horse facilities were very small and surrounded by neighborhoods. Because that's how Colorado runs its land, is Colorado is very particular about its public lands. It does not want to share those public lands. It is trying to preserve them.
Mm-hmm.
So that means, you know, they put people on top of each other to maximize space.
Yes.
And it makes sense, truly, but I would not consider Colorado a horse state for that reason.
No, yeah, especially the barn that we visited. It was very compact. It was very tight. It was cramped, in a sense.
It was.
The horses were all just kind of, they had their pens. They were like half outdoor, half indoor, and it was interesting. It's a layout that you would not see here in Ohio, that's for sure.
Not at all. Not at all. Because, again, like, on the East Coast, one big difference I realized is the worry about horses. Out in the West, I noticed panels, round pen panels, and barbed wire were pretty common means of containment.
Yeah.
But if you're in Ohio, if you're in the East Coast, Indiana, Kentucky, Pennsylvania, everybody gets so weird about panels. They're like, they're going to get a leg stuck. They're going to get a leg stuck. Well, they're not. I've never heard of that happening in my experience.
Unless you have just a really crazy one.
Well, then you might want to separate them a little bit. And barbed wire, like, no, I would not want to use barbed wire just because the risk associated with it. But if I was given a property with, you know, 1,000 acres and it was fenced in, I would be like, I'll deal with the barbed wire because I don't want the cost of replacing it.
So I have actually had experience with barbed wire. It's very minimal, but for a reason. 2 foals that my family purchased, they both had injuries from barbed wire, and they were both from the same facility. And we asked the owner, you know, is this common? And she was like, oh yeah, every one of our foals will get into this barbed wire at some point, and it's a learning experience for them. And it's like, yikes.
But it is. I mean, think about it. Like, all the Mustangs, all the wild horses, all the ranch horses from back in the day, they weren't coddled with lush, flat pastures or sandy arenas. They had to go out and fall down and stumble and get hurt to learn how to use their feet and their legs. Now, again, like, no, if given the choice, I'm not going to choose barbed wire. But if it's already there, I'll kind of show my horses where the boundary is.
Let them learn.
And then let them kind of figure it out within reason. If I got one I know is a fence runner, I'll do my best to just eliminate any risk there. Like, I have one in my herd right now. He's a sweetheart, but he has a tendency to test fences and gates. So I would not put him in barbed wire.
See, I am so thankful Sundown does not test fences since we put him in electric.
I was going to say, electric is now my go-to probably too.
Yeah.
I would really like to add the visual of a wooden top board, but again, cost.
Cost, yes.
So, like, going out there, we took it and we learned what we could. And, you know, we learned how different people kept their horses. Colorado, it was very tight. Wyoming, Idaho, Montana, horses and cows go in the same pasture.
Oh, yeah.
And it's going to be hundreds of acres with barbed wire.
Beautiful fields, too.
Oh.
Especially in Wyoming. We were just drooling.
Oh. Wyoming was... I'd move to Wyoming.
In a heartbeat.
Yeah, like...
Yeah.
Give me a choice, I'm going to Wyoming. Like,
yes.
Montana, we saw pretty much all of Montana because we went diagonal away across the entire state.
Yes.
And I was a little underwhelmed by it.
Yeah, because Montana was definitely the state for me that I'm like, I want to go to Montana. I want to see Montana. And then we got there and it was flat and like the rolling hills and it was just open and you could see for miles. And I'm like, this is not at all what, you know, media portrays or what I had envisioned in my head.
Whereas like Wyoming, you get this, and like maybe if we had gone to the Yellowstone section of Montana, it would have been different.
Yeah, maybe further like lower south.
Yeah. Like the southwest corner of Montana may have been different, but we went from the southeast corner all the way up to the northwest corner.
Yeah,
we went across the whole state. And then we went across all of Wyoming, and I don't know, Wyoming just, because you've got the gorgeous lush forests and fields on one side, and then you turn your head a little bit and you just see the rock formations, the color and the stones.
The mountains.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
So Wyoming definitely, I think, has both our hearts. I think we would definitely try to go spend 2 weeks out there camping and trail riding.
Yeah. Well, and when I was driving that one time, Shelby was napping, and on the side of the road, just in one of those giant lush fields, there was a herd of wild horses. And I passed a couple of signs saying that this was BLM land, and I was like, oh, am I going to see wild ones? And I did, and I was so happy. I'm kicking myself for not waking you up and pulling over. But, I mean, it's just
we'll
so
be back
beautiful.
out there, though.
Yeah.
I think next year that should be our big trip.
Yeah. Well,
if
we're thinking about doing the Pony Express too,
right?
You know, just saying,
it's gonna be just a state over. Might as well. So yeah, and that's the thing is we took note of all of that. We were like, what do we want to do out here? What would we come back to? What are we learning from this? Cattle and horses occupy the same fields out there.
Yeah, which makes sense. Put them both in the same thing. Go.
Why not? You got all these acres. Might as well use it.
Exactly.
So, you know, this trip was really just a fantastic learning opportunity and experience for us. And, you know, like we did go to the clinic and, you know, after we practice some of the things that we gathered from that clinic, we'll share them with you guys. But Skylar just wants to get a little bit more confident in the information and in the application of it before she shares, which makes sense. We're not trying to mislead you guys or fool you guys, so
yeah, we want to make sure it works for us before we start, you know, preaching about certain things or systems, and then you know
down the line we're like, well, actually,
yeah,
because I mean we've done that. I know, like I've been told different ways to put on tack, and I don't do it that way. Yeah, I throw everything up from the right side, so I have to walk around my horse once. The amount of people that would lose their minds over that.
Oh yeah.
Or the wrong side, right side, mounting, dismounting. Ugh, there's no such thing.
We don't carry swords anymore.
No.
We're okay.
My horse has got to be able to let me get off from one side or the other, because sometimes I need the little extra lift of a log or a truck bed or something to get off of him. Mm-hmm. So my horse isn't going to care where I get on and off.
When I was going to say, too, like at the clinic, there was somebody who had a disability and like helping them through that disability and, you know, giving them feedback that they took home with them was amazing. Even the people that we met along the way too. There's a spider. Pardon the interruption, there was a spider. But we met a lot of people at the clinic, and not just the clinic, on our travels too. We met people just kind of sporadically, randomly, that we never would have come across if we wouldn't have made the choices that we made or done the things that we decided last minute to do. And honestly, I feel like those are some connections that are really great to have.
Mm-hmm.
And especially like with the people that we met, they were just really cool to talk to.
Talking to a lot of the horse people out there was really, really interesting. Because again, they have such a different way of doing things and looking at things than we do. And then we also had the pleasure of talking to one lady after one of our trail rides, and she was just a wealth of knowledge, and I cannot wait to talk to her again.
Oh yeah, and who knows, we might have her on the podcast, so you guys might get to meet her too.
Right. And when I say she was a wealth of knowledge, like, Skylar was more interested in her riding packing experience. I was more interested in her care knowledge. So how to take care of wounds, how to take care of horses, how to manage horses. Because she actually breeds as well. She breeds and trains her own babies.
She's kind of a jack of all trades.
She really is. And that's kind of like what both of us are like, that's kind of what we're thinking about doing. Like,
yeah, we vibe with it more.
Yeah.
And we definitely got along with her very well. And just talking with her, and oh my gosh, she's got so many experiences and so many life stories that,
and she is she is just awesome to be around too. Like, she is just eager to talk and to share and to connect. Like, yeah, that is something I find is really lacking, at least in our area,
especially in the horse world. There is a lot of gatekeeping of information, where people just have this mentality of, oh, you have to either pay me to get this knowledge, or you have to earn it. You have to earn it. Yeah.
And that's not fair, because that's what's going to lead to the death of a lot of traditions.
It is a dying tradition. Horseback riding in its entirety is a dying tradition. And unfortunately, that's just the truth of everything. But the way to prevent that from happening is to share the knowledge, share that wealth of information with other people, especially people who are eager to learn and they want to learn.
Yeah, and I think the biggest thing is now, I mean, this kind of gets into more of a controversial hot topic kind of thing, but I truly think we can attribute that a lot to everybody wants immediate gratification for everything. Yeah. They want to see immediate results, and reality is, with horses, you're never going to see immediate results. You're never going to get immediate gratification, because they are another living being with their own thoughts and, you know, their own thoughts and ideas and thinking processes. So you're never gonna get an immediate like answer out of them. They're gonna have to think about it just like you would have to think about it. Mm-hmm. And I think that, you know, in our day and age, everything's kind of at your fingertips, and horses are still very grounded. They are not at your fingertips.
No.
So I think that's part of it, is people watch shows like Yellowstone, they get the misconception that horses are easy, and they're not. But the journey, the learning, all of it is so worth the effort.
It is.
I have found nothing more fulfilling or gratifying than horses.
Yeah, especially when you bond with them and they trust you enough to do things that...
You bond with them, but it's also the community you can build with them. Yeah. I mean, this lady we met in Washington, I cannot wait to talk to her more, to learn more from her, and to consider her as part of my community, because her knowledge is just that vast.
Yeah.
So, you know, I am always looking to build a good horse community, because it's honestly lacking. Like Skylar said, there's so much gatekeeping, and there's so much, like, you know, high horsing in the horse industry, and it's like, come on, guys. You know, we all started here not because we wanted a 2-cent ribbon, or because we wanted the shiniest hair, or the best braided tail, or the, you know, most slowest slope ever. We all started here because we just wanted to be on a horse. We wanted to be around horses.
Or with horses.
Yeah. And I think that was probably the biggest takeaway from this trip, was it just really kind of, for both of us, cemented what we're looking for.
Yeah, and what we want. Yeah.
So stay tuned, because we're going to have plenty more episodes for you guys. We're going to talk about plenty more, and we're really going to be trying to get out and have as many experiences as we can right now.
Yeah. So we'll see you on the flip side. We hope you enjoyed this week's topic. Join us for new episodes every Sunday. And to keep up with the herd, be sure to follow us on Instagram at The Highline Herd and visit our website at thehighlineherd.com. We hope you enjoy the show. See you next week.